Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Brandon, thank you for accepting our invitation.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I have a class here. I'm not sure if you can see them.
I can.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderful. What we are planning to do here, we'll give you like 15, 20 minutes. We'll let you to talk about yourself and the Omni Hotel. And then I have some people here. We'll ask you some questions.
Okay, sure.
By the way, we are recording this, just let you know. Okay.
Oh, God.
Excellent.
All right. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Rhode. I'm a Director of Housekeeping here for Omni Hotels and Resorts. Currently, I'm based out of our Nashville property. And our Nashville hotel is about it's 800-room property, so it's one of our larger hotels. But I started with Omni about 12 years ago. I went to the University of Texas at Austin. Sorry, but started part-time working at the front desk, and then kind of transitioned into a supervisory role even before graduating from UT. And then once I did, I was offered a management position, assistant front office manager at that hotel at Austin downtown, which was about a 365 room hotel. Went from Austin downtown to open the Omni in Fort Worth with John. That's where we met. That hotel, 615-room hotel plus condos that kind of jet out from it. So it's kind of a unique property and one of the first hotels, a real ground-up construction for Omni in quite a long period, and kind of was the beginning of a lot of new builds. And to be honest, I'm at the Omni in Louisville right now, and the Fort Worth hotel. You can tell there's a lot of similarities between this hotel and the Fort Worth hotel. Anyways, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But from Fort Worth, I was the night hotel manager. I worked overnights, which was pretty intense, but a lot of evictions, a lot of just dealing with the night kind of crowd, the bar crowd, which was actually a lot of fun, and which I feel like made me, to be honest, even stronger in my operations knowledge and role. And then went from night manager to front office manager there, and had a lot of opportunities for task force. I got to travel to our Amelia Island Resort in Florida, and open that property or transition that property. And there I spent a lot of time with corporate, and they ended up offering me a position at our corporate office in Dallas. So then I moved to corporate right up the road from Fort Worth, and did manager of front office applications, which was kind of overseeing our property management systems for the company. So we now use Opera PMS solely throughout Omni, but at the time we were using 2 different PMS systems, so it was a little challenging. And then did that for 2 years, traveled months at a time. So you think you want to travel all the time, but you do it for a couple of years, and it's a kind of a different experience. So I was happy to kind of come back to the properties, and that's where the opportunity in Nashville came up, and had a lot of family in Nashville, and it just made sense. So I came back to be director of front office operations in Nashville, and then probably like 3 years into it, became director of housekeeping, and I've been director of housekeeping for about a year and 7 months. So that's my history in a nutshell. It's a lot.
Just to add you a couple things, can you a little bit talk about the openings? I know you just came from another hotel.
Yeah.
And I know the openings is unique niche of the hotel business. It's very important. A little bit of opening experience. I know you have an experience with the Fort Worth, but now you have recent experience. Also, can you a little bit explain what is Omni Hotels for them? Like, I know we have some pillars over there. I know one market segments over there, like who's your customer and how you think about the service. And then I'll let my students to give you some ideas and maybe some questions, right?
Yeah, so Omni is an upper upscale hotel brand. Culture is huge within our brand, and it's a big reason I think I'm still with this company. This is the only job I've ever had from college on, and I think that's huge. And not only for myself, but really most of my peers and colleagues and my friends in this company are all pretty much in the same boat. We started young, and Omni really rewards those who work hard and kind of prove themselves. And you don't see that in every brand. I think what's unique about Omni is we're privately held company. So we have one owner. We really have one message from the corporate office. You start getting into some of these privately, some of these other hotel chains. I won't name names, but there's a lot of red tape because you might work for a big brand, but really you work for the ownership of that singular hotel, and that's what makes Omni unique. Is that we have one owner who owns all of our hotels, and so it makes it so easy to do, like how I was explaining my career, to move around. And for them to create positions, you don't really see that in a lot of brands, especially the larger ones. Omni's about 60 properties. Again, all upper upscale 4-diamond hotels. We're kind of appealing to that sort of upscale business traveler and their families. Definitely a family hotel chain. We have kids programs and things like that, and every hotel kind of has its own local flair too, which is what I think is really unique as well. They're not cookie cutter. So I'm in Louisville right now at the Omni in Louisville that we just opened, and it's bourbon country, right? So there's bourbon and the Kentucky Derby and horses. I mean, you walk around this hotel, it's gorgeous, and it's inspired by all of that. And Nashville, my hotel, it's Music City, right? So there's music themes and the Ryman and country music all throughout the hotel. Fort Worth is cowboys and culture, and you see that all throughout that hotel. But we have different sects in Omni too. We have the convention hotels, which is what I kind of am in and have done since the Fort Worth hotel. So like Fort Worth, Louisville, Nashville, Dallas Convention Center Hotel. Those are convention. Then we have our core hotels, which are downtown properties like Boston and New York and like Charlotte, for example, these downtown city hotels. And then we have our resorts too. I mean, that's why we added in resorts not that long ago, and a lot of resort properties like Amelia Island, Hilton Head, and La Costa. We just got La Costa and Barton Creek in Austin, Monte Lucia in Phoenix. So yeah, a little bit about the properties. Did you want to know more about openings, or?
That would be great if you can give me what's the difference between running a regular hotel or opening.
Well, yeah, there's a big difference. I mean, we kind of talk about that a lot. There's some people that are good, what we call them maintainers, and then there's some people that are builders, and that's definitely the mentality that you have to have when you go into an opening. You're building everything from the ground up. And you have to be able to implement processes and procedures and do that at the same time as you are training everybody, and you have a live property. So it's extremely challenging, but it's addicting in a way, in a sick way. It's fun. I enjoy opening properties. Every hotel that I've had the pleasure of opening it's been very, very unique and different. And some people aren't cut out for it. And you see that, but if you're willing to work hard and put in the hours, and a lot of times we're working 5 a.m. in the morning till midnight. But you kind of lose track of that because you have a job to do and you get it done. So you got to balance sort of work life a little bit, but it's challenging in opening environments.
Thank you. Let
Yeah.
me ask the class if they have any questions. Do you guys have any questions? If you have any calls, just in case.
I'm from Austin myself, and I was looking to get an internship this summer. What brought you to Omni? What made you choose that?
To be honest, so I was in school, and I literally was looking for a part-time job, and we had a formal at the Omni in Austin, and I was like, oh, this would be a cool hotel to go work at, and I feel like I'm good with people, and I applied for a front desk agent position and got it. But to be honest, that's really what brought me in. It was one of the nicer hotels in downtown, and I thought it would be a cool place to work and get to deal with people, and also have the perks of getting to stay at our properties. It was pretty fun gig. So that's really what brought me into it. UT doesn't have a hospitality program, so I never really thought about getting into it. It was just something I just sort of fell into, honestly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else? You guys don't have any questions? Come on. All right, I'll do the warm-up. Let's ask some questions then. Brandon, I keep explaining them what the hotel managers are looking for when they hire. So if one of my students apply to your hotel, and if you are having an interview, what are the things you are looking for? You are just straight looking to their diploma or something else?
No, well, we have different, we have a leader in development program with Omni, which is great. And currently, even at my hotel, we have 6 of those just in our rooms division, which is awesome. So we have them, doing about 5 months of front office, and then 5 months of housekeeping, and then a little bit of spa and retail and LP, and that's loss prevention, and all over the hotel, guest services, and then there's leaders in development for sales and marketing and finance and engineering. But what we're looking for, especially even in those interviews, you do need a diploma. You do need a college degree to do the leadership and development program. But that's not the only way that you can get into management. A lot of times you just need to start as a front desk agent, or that's a great way to work your way up. Start as a front desk agent, and then show your leadership there, and move up. Supervisor or rooms controller or loyalty ambassador. And then a lot of times, that's what I did personally, front desk supervisor, and then was offered an assistant front office manager position from there. So that's what's kind of cool about Omni and unique, is there's not just one way to get there. When we're interviewing, we're kind of looking at leadership styles, and looking at that person individually and seeing how we feel like they'll relate to our associates. Is a huge thing. Are they going to be someone who's going to be training, or are they going to try to come in guns blazing, kind of like a know-it-all? That's not what we're looking for. We're just looking to see you can have a conversation with us, carry a conversation with us, because we're thinking of how you're going to relate to our guests, which is huge.
Get ready for one question. I'll ask one more. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some everyday problems you face?
Oh gosh, a lot of everyday problems. So currently I'm in housekeeping, and housekeeping is a lot more compared to front office. You're not dealing with as much guests as you're dealing with associates, and common issues. You're dealing with people calling off and having to redo boards, and really just a lot of internal, like, not getting along with so-and-so, and or I'm not happy and need to talk to me. A lot of my job is almost like HR. I spend a lot of my time in human resources, just because you're doing a lot of mediating in the housekeeping role. I have about 200 associates under me in housekeeping at Nashville. So if you can imagine, it's a lot of people management compared to front office, where you have about 45 associates, and you're more out front, and you're dealing with guest issues, not being happy with their room, to hopefully, them just wanting to give compliments and want to know more about the city or whatnot. But every day is different, to be honest with you. That's why I kind of laugh. Every day is so unique. You never know really what you're going to deal with, but through time and doing this for a while, you kind of gain that confidence to be able to handle almost anything that gets thrown at you. So.
Any questions, guys? Brandon, I'm sure they are curious about what are the challenges you are facing, but I know you are facing a lot of challenges. why are you still in that position? What is unique? Like what makes you to stay in that position? Like having all that problems and you're still in there.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, I do deal with a lot of challenges, but genuinely, I really enjoy my role in dealing with my associates. I love my team. I'm really fortunate to have the team that I have, and I have assistant directors who support me, and a ton of supervisors. I have a small army of people, and I feel like that's really what keeps me going on a daily basis. Is I feel like a lot of them are depending on me and my direction, and it's something I tell a lot of my new managers and new leaders that come into my department is you do have to come in with a good attitude every day, and you do have to, even if you don't feel like it, because our staff, a lot of them, especially communication wise, my team is primarily Arabic, and a lot of them don't speak English at all. And so they're looking at just even my facial expressions, and if I'm smiling or if I walk by, if I walk by and don't even say hello, and maybe I'm not thinking about it, they could think that I'm upset with them or whatnot. So anyways, it's, every day you kind of have to go in with a good attitude.
Have you learned any Arabic? Any words?
A little, yeah, a little bit.
No, it's required. I know. Here's another question for the students. I'm sure they're a little bit shy. They're not asking questions. I'm asking on behalf of them.
That's all right.
Usually they are not shy, but somehow. Are you guys planning to expand? Are you like, do you have like international locations? Because I'm trying to give them an idea. The hotel business is not only in Lubbock. We have hotels in all over the world. So what do you think Omni is planning? Are you guys planning to open more hotels in all over the world, or what's your future?
Yeah, we're more focused on the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So we have 2 hotels in Canada. We have the Omni Mount Royal, which I spent a lot of time at, in Montreal, and then we have the Omni in Toronto, which I opened right before we opened Nashville. And that hotel is beautiful as well, completely renovated. It's called the King Edward. If you look it up, it's really a cool story. Very old historic hotel there in Toronto. Anyways, and then in Mexico we have 2 basically in Cancun, 2 resorts in Cancun, which are unique. But otherwise, primarily just focused in the United States. I can't speak too much for our owner if he wants to expand, overseas, but I don't see that happening probably anytime soon. We are part of the Global Hotel Alliance, which gives us the opportunity to advertise, Omni across the globe, with other privately held hotel companies like Dusit and Pan Pacific, Marco Polo, some of those big hotel chains across overseas. But I don't see us probably expanding anytime soon over there. But we are definitely expanding in the U.S. So like I said, I'm here in Louisville helping them open right now. I was here for about 2 weeks during opening, which was over March 6th, and then I just came back, and then I'll be here till about Sunday, and then we're going to be opening a few hotels coming up here pretty soon. One in Oklahoma City, which is going to be a large property as well, convention center hotel. Which says a lot about Oklahoma City and probably how much they're expanding right now and growing. We're about to open another one in Boston, which is almost, I think, a 2,000 room property. It'll be huge in the Seaport District. I think that's going to be 2021 or 2022. And then one in Fort Lauderdale, which will be another like 700 to 800 room property, convention center hotel. And then one in outside of Phoenix, Tempe. I think it's going to be like a 200-300 room property, but it will be connected to Arizona State University somehow. So that alone, right? There's a lot of expansion going on in this company.
You guys have any questions? Come on in here. I have another question for you. Give me 1 second.
Hello, my name is
Hi, how are you?
With all the relocation, how's the work-life balance with everything? How's your family take it?
Good. I'm very fortunate. So my wife went to Texas Tech Law School, so she's an attorney. So she's very focused on her career as well. And so it was definitely a big move for us when we moved from Dallas to Nashville. It definitely helped that my family lives there, and that played a big role in it. It's something that it changes. It was my work-life balance, my family life, obviously when I was right out of college, was so different than it is now, and it definitely does affect your decisions when you're moving. But you definitely need to have an open mind, I would say, when you're right out of college, when you're starting to apply, and even right after your first management position. Being able to move is key to advancement in the hotel industry. So you do need to be prepared to move. There's unicorns out there. I have some good friends that have been able to stay in one location, but that's so rare. And I don't even know if I would have. I don't really want to stay in one location. It's fun. Like I said, I'm almost addicted to opening new properties, and I think I would get bored staying at just one hotel. So,
any other questions, guys? Come on in. I have another question.
So whenever you open a new hotel, how do you know how many people exactly you want to hire and how many people you can afford to pay their salaries and all of that?
That is a complex question. We don't all the time. You definitely come up with a budget, before opening, and you have an idea of what you'll need to staff a property. It depending on how much occupancy you're expecting to have. Some hotels you open and you're going to be at 100%, and you definitely need to staff for that, right? And other hotels you gradually rev up to full occupancy. Like this hotel, for example, we it was more of a rev up to it, but pretty much, we're there. So this weekend is actually their first almost sellout weekend, and a big reason why I'm here, and it's exciting, but this one was a little bit more of a rev up than maybe Nashville. That was pretty much go right off the bat. So that dictates a lot of your staffing right away.
Guys, any question? You want me to ask the question? All right. Brandon, I know they all need some advices. By giving example from your experience, like I know how you started with the night manager, and I know our experience in the Fort Worth. Mm-hmm. But if you start from the beginning again, you think it's a good idea to start from the night manager or night auditor position, or would you recommend them to start from somewhere, or would you do different?
100%. It doesn't really matter where you start as long as you get your foot in the door. I think, like I said, night manager was a huge learning experience for me, and something I would never take back. I would definitely do that again. And in fact, one of our leaders in development from Nashville, he really wanted to come, similar to how I wanted to go to Fort Worth, and that was the position that was open, and I took it. He similarly wanted to come to Louisville, and that was the position that was open, and he took it. There's, even as night manager, there's so much responsibility on that shift. You're kind of given the keys of the Ferrari at night, and there's no one else to go to. So when you're night manager, you are it at the hotel, and you learn how to think on your feet and figure out problems. And especially working at a larger property, night manager, you're over quite a few people. You're probably over more people than a front office manager or any at a smaller property. So. It just depends, but I think night audit. If your goal is to be a director of rooms, or like mine, you should definitely take it, because it just, as long as you get that experience, you'll be able to manage that so much better. You'll be able to manage the front office. A big part of our internal audit, for example, it really relies on the success of night audit and the processes and procedures that you implement on that. If you have a terrible night manager, you're not doing things correctly on the night audit, you're probably going to fail your audit in general, or you're going to do really bad on the front office side. So it's an extremely important position. But just in general, like, just getting your foot in the door. I have a good example from Fort Worth, actually. She's currently manager of revenue applications at corporate, but she started out as she went to UNT, and she needed an internship, and all that we had available in Fort Worth was GRA, and she took it, and she was awesome. And then she moved her way up to I think the coordinator, and then to front office, and then found out actually that my wife is from Abilene, and they grew up together randomly. Had no idea. And then she went to open the Dallas hotel, and then I begged her to come to Nashville as night manager, and she did a great job there. And then we were able to get her into revenue management. She became the assistant director of revenue management for our hotel in Nashville, and then now most recently is at corporate, managing revenue applications for the entire company. So she started as a GRA, right? Doesn't matter where you start. You can, GRA is housekeeper, by the way. Yes, it's a guest room attendant. I'm using lingo, but it's doesn't matter where you start. Honestly, it matters your drive and being able to show that you're going to work hard and worthy of promotion. So.
Right. Well, do you guys have any questions? We still have time, so if you want to use your time wisely. So, do you have any questions? All right, I have a couple more questions before we close, at least.
Okay.
One of them is you just mentioned about, that's what I understood, just getting in the business is a big thing, just putting in a step. But also, I know from my experience, even to get in, putting in a step, you need some connections. What do you recommend to students, like being in the business, which means like get connected with the business? Because we know we can't teach them everything in the class. They have to step out. They have to come to you guys.
Yeah.
Produce themselves. So what do you recommend? Is there any like social media thing, or is there any tool that they can use?
To be honest, the best way, like I said, is to get your foot in the door and try to find a part-time job. I know, school's obviously number one, and it was that way for me. Actually, I kind of lied to my parents. I wasn't even supposed to have a job, but I went ahead and got one. And I just like I said, was a part-time front desk agent. I know, there's only so many hotels in Lubbock, and there's only so many opportunities, but if you can get your foot in the door and just get a position in a hotel and start building your resume, that's going to be the biggest key for when you get out of college. Because my degree, whatever, is great, but it's done nothing for my career. What's done something for my career was just getting my foot in the door, and building those connections in the business and in the hotel, and building your resume. That's what's most important in the hotel business. Your degree is great, but it's more about your experience. So start now.
Brandon, before we let you go, I will ask you the last question, or I will let you to open the floor if you want to give them any recommendations or even examples from your past. Like, I had that experience, I had that experience. If you want to get in a business, you need to do this, you need to do this. Or another thing we keep talking about, what is going on in the hotel business right now? What is the trends? What is the best positions will be open in the near future? Is it like a lot of students are interested in event management, and I know event management is a certain position, but I have tons of students ready to go that area. But I also know that there are a lot of things opening and new trends. I'll let you to talk, and whenever you feel like, go ahead, it's your floor.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I interview a lot of people, especially when I was director of front office, a lot of new hospitality professionals that want to get into event management. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter where you've got to start somewhere. So kind of get in the door. I think sometimes some people are a little unrealistic about what event management is. And some people think, oh, it's just like wedding planning and things like that. So I think, if you can maybe get an internship or job shadow a convention service manager or a catering manager or catering sales manager. I think that would be huge to kind of really understand what you're getting. I know, John, you know, like it's not what a lot of people think. It's a lot of movies out there and things like that of what you think an event planner is, but they're not really realistic. So it's great if you can kind of go and shadow an event manager or a wedding planner or something like that to get a better idea of what that is. In general, though, like with this company, you know, we're still growing. We're more of a grassroots hotel brand, and in a lot of ways, in the sense that they are creating positions all the time and are open to new ideas. And you know, like I said, I was asked to be manager of front office applications that didn't even exist at the time. They just created it for me, and that's what's cool about this company is, you know, they'll do that. They're constantly evolving and growing. I don't know. That's other trend. I mean, trends in general. You know, I'm trying to think more on the housekeeping side right now. You know, we're really focused more on a lot of the environmental side of things and being environmentally friendly, more and more environmentally friendly. We see that a lot with our guests, you know, and we have literature that we put into the rooms to conserve, you know, not only on linen and terry having to wash and all the chemicals that go into that, but also the amount of water you're using and whatnot. We're trying to educate our guests more and more, and our guests are appreciating that. A lot of groups even will book at our hotels because we have so many green initiatives, and so it is surprising to see that more and more, how many people are making business decisions to book their conferences and groups based on a hotel's green programs. So.
It's the last chance. We are closing it. Okay. Thank you very much, Brandon. Do you have anything to say, or we are closing here?
No, I wish you guys the best of luck, and you know, it's a fun ride in hospitality. It's never the same. It's always, every day is different, and you know, yeah, I wish you guys the best of luck. You know, if you really work hard in this, there is a lot of potential for movement and growth in this business. So, anyways. It's good. Yeah. Start now, though. That's my big thing.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you.